everyone, I'm Hannah. As always, thank you so much for being here. Today we're doing a full body flow for all levels. So we're going to begin seated. Grab yourself a cushion, a yoga block, maybe a rolled up towel or blanket or something just to elevate your hips slightly so that you can ideally get your hips either in line with your knees or higher than your knees. And you can choose any comfortable sitting position. Take a moment once you get grounded to just give yourself maybe a bit of a roll through the shoulders, a bit of a shake out through the head, any little movements that you just want to take as you settle in, and maybe closing the eyes or just allowing the gaze to soften. Let's just collect ourselves for a few moments, simply observing, not changing anything at all, just observing the natural breath, physical body, where the mind is at. And then bringing your attention to your breath, just observing where in the body the breath is reaching, how the breath feels, the speed of the breath. And then when you're ready to, perhaps allowing the breath to become slightly deeper. So maybe just taking a few inhales and exhales, focusing on taking the breath down towards the belly. Maybe you even take a couple of gentle exhales through the mouth. Just letting go of anything that you don't need during your practice today. Seeing if we can use the breath to create a little bit more space within us, a little bit more openness. And then bringing your attention into the body, see if you can lengthen up through the crown of the head just a little bit more, and then ground down equally through the sitting bones. So there is a sense of dual motion happening through the spine, activeness through the spine. Lower abdominal muscles are engaged to support the lower back. Shoulders are soft. Muscles in the face are relaxed. If you would like to, you're welcome to bring the palms together at the heart center into Anjali Mudra. Taking a moment to lightly press the palms in towards one another and just finding that sense of equal balance or equal pressure. And as we draw the two palms together and we look for that sense of equal balance or pressure, noting how the palms have met in the very center of the body, at the heart. Maybe reminding ourselves to bring ourselves back to our true center, to our heart whenever we need to during our day. And gently drawing the chin down towards the chest, bowing the head ever so slightly. And if the eyes are closed, letting the eyes open in your own time. As always, no rush. And gently releasing the hands, if they are at the heart center, down to the knees or the thighs. Let's just start by taking our right ear towards our right shoulder just to stretch out through the neck. So we're just pausing here for a couple of breaths, letting the head be heavy, taking a couple of deep belly breaths, and if we can, bringing the breath in and out through the nose only, so lightly closing the lips. Beautiful, coming up through center, and then take the left ear towards the left shoulder, focusing on seeing if we can let both of our shoulders relax and draw away from the ears. So we are creating a sense of length through the neck and heaviness through the head. And just noticing the breath once again. Beautiful. Bringing that head back up into center. Pausing here just for a moment and then drawing the chin down towards the chest. Let's do a couple of half rotations of the neck. So waiting for an inhale breath, and we just start circling the right ear towards the right shoulder. And just take this as far up to the side as feels good. And then as you exhale, drawing the chin back down towards the chest. Inhaling, go to the other other side. Left ear, left shoulder. Keep that right shoulder relaxed. And exhaling, draw back to center. So let's just keep doing that with our own breath, in our own time. And if you find that there is some sore spots or some sweet spots that you really just want to hang out in, you might pause for a couple of breaths anywhere along the way of this movement. So as always, really tuning in with your body, your breath, and your experience today with your practice. Reminding ourselves that we can only ever be certain of our own experience. We can't speak for anyone else or the things that they are processing or the way that they're processing them or just experiencing life. So when it comes to your practice, remember you are in control. Your practice, your experience. We're going to begin to even up. So just make sure that you take an equal amount of half rotations. Okay, before you gently bring that head back up into center. As always, no rush getting there. Taking a moment just to ground down tall. Maybe closing the eyes, finding that length in the spine, beginning to really contract those lower abdominal muscles. The belly button towards top of the pubic bone. I talk about this a lot when I teach, for very good reason. We need to protect our lower back muscles. So pull the belly button towards the top of the pubic bone, really hug in those lower abdominal muscles. You can also pull pelvic floor muscles inwards and upwards. So keeping length through the spine and a strong core, take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. Maybe looking up if that feels nice. Slightly opening through the chest. As you exhale, bring the arms down, fingertips down to the ground. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathing in, take the arms up. Breathing out, draw the arms down. Maybe imagining that you're almost clearing the space around you. So breathing in, picking up anything that you don't need as you breathe out, maybe just gently pushing it away without too much force, just easing the things away from us that we don't need, creating space for new things to enter into our awareness. If you're sitting up on a cushion or block or any sort of prop, take it out to the side, and let's come into our child's pose. In our practice today. So you can take any version of child's pose. Knees can be spread, they can be together. Just letting the head and heart open towards the ground for a few breaths here. Beautiful. Take your time when you're ready to come up into your all fours, your tabletop, and just start moving between your cat and cow as you breathe in. Belly softens, head looks forwards or up as you breathe out, hugging in the abdominal muscles, rounding through the back. And really using this as a chance not just to begin mobilizing and warming up the spine and the core, but really finding our foundation. So grounding down through the hands, especially through the base knuckles, keeping a bit of a micro bend in the elbows if possible. And also grounding down through the lower legs, the tops of the feet, the knees, whatever part of the lower legs are in connection with the ground. Beautiful. Okay, so just finishing the round that you're on. As always, take your time, work with your breath. Tucking the toes under and just sliding the hands forwards ever so slightly. Lifting the hips up towards a downward facing dog. We're going to inhale as we lift the sitting bones high, just coming as far into this as feels accessible and comfortable today. Then as we breathe out, can we lower all the way down with control? So use your hands, use your core. Beautiful. Inhaling, press into the balls of the feet. Use your center. Lift the sitting bones high. Don't worry if the legs don't get all the way straight. As you breathe out, slowly come down with control. Center strong. Press down to the base knuckles of the hands. One more time. Inhaling. Use your center to protect your lower back. Lift the sitting bones high. Exhaling, coming down with control. Beautiful. Inhale, come back to your downward dog. We're going to stay there this time. Lifting those sitting bones high. And then either finding stillness here if that feels good, or maybe walking through the feet, giving the head a bit of a shake, whatever feels needed for you in your downward dog. As always, lifting the sitting bones high, hugging in the lower abdominal muscles, pressing the mat away with the hands, finding that dual motion through the spine. Crown of the head reaches towards the mat as we lift the sitting bones and tailbone away. And if we can, we press the heels down towards the mat. If the legs are straight. If the knees are bent, that's okay. Come up to the balls of the feet. Do whatever you need to with the legs to get that spine lengthening and in alignment. Beautiful work, guys. Slowly start to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. Bend the knees as much as you like. Let's just find a forward fold at the back end of our mat. Maybe grabbing hold of opposite elbows. You might give the head a gentle shake. Maybe you rock a little bit or sway. That might feel nice for the lower back. And just take a moment to ground down through the feet here. So maybe flex and wiggle the toes. And then press down evenly through all four corners of the feet. All right, let's gently bring our hands down to our mat when we're ready. Slowly walking the hands forwards. And this time, as we take the hands forwards, we're then going to bring the feet forwards towards the hands. So take your time. We're slowly coming towards the top end of the mat. As many steps as you need. Feet can come all the way together. They can be hip width. Wherever you feel most stable. And then without clenching the toes, but keeping the feet active, soften the knees. Roll up through the spine. Finding your way to stand. As you come to stand, maybe roll the shoulders. Take a deep breath. Shake out anything that needs it. And just pause for a moment, maybe coming into your Tadasana, your standing mountain pose. Crown of the head. Reaches long towards the sky, fingertips stretch towards the ground. Head, shoulders, hips, and heels are all in alignment. The tailbone is slightly tucked under. The feet press the ground away. Legs are active. Just finding stillness here. Finding stability. Using our awareness to scan head to toe through the body. Beautiful. Let the eyes open if they're closed when you're ready. And as you take a breath in, bring the hands together at heart center and just take a breath out here. Finding our center, finding our heart. On your next inhale, breath, reach the arms up overhead. Maybe looking up if that feels nice. Keep pressing down through the feet. Exhale, let's fold forwards. Come into your flat back. Bend the knees if you want to, but try to keep that spine lengthening for as long as possible. Coming into a forward fold right at the end. Inhale, find a flat back position. Lift up as high as you need. Lengthen through the spine. Exhale, come back, forward fold. Bring the hands down to the mat and then slide that right foot back. Breathing in and out as you go. Just coming into a lunge with both hands down, and you can either drop that right knee down to the mat or you can keep it lifted. We're going to take a twist for a few breaths in towards our left leg. So hugging the belly button into the spine. Unravel that left arm or those left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Maybe looking up at your fingertips. If this feels uncomfortable, you can look down at the ground instead. Draw the belly button in and twist from the lower body, keeping that left knee and shin pulling forwards and that right heel pulling back. Beautiful. As you take your next breath out, thread that left arm down. Now we're coming into our plank position from here. So if you're in a high lunge, you can step that left leg back. If you're kneeling, you can come to plank on the knees, or you can come to a high plank, your choice. Few breaths here. Hug in the core muscles. Press down to the base knuckles of the hands. Micro bend through the elbows. Reach the crown of the head forwards. Pull the heels back. Center strong. When we're ready to drop the knees, pause for a breath in. As you breathe out, chest and shin down to the ground. Place this cushion a little bit close to my head. Let's see if I can work with it. As you breathe in, slide the legs back. Be mindful of the lower back. And then as you breathe out, just release forehead down to the mat. Inhaling, low cobra. Doesn't need to be a very big movement. Exhale, gently release down. Let's do that 2 more times. As you inhale, low cobra. You can use your hands to help you keep the back of the neck long. Exhale, forehead down. 1 more time, breathing in. Baby cobra, low cobra, small movement, just what feels comfortable for the back. Exhale, forehead down. Beautiful. Inhale, tuck the toes. Pressing back up into all fours. Use your core muscles. And press down to the base knuckles of the hands. Downward facing dog when you're ready. Lifting the hips high. Reposition the hands and feet if you need to. Give the head a bit of a shake. Take a breather here. Beautiful work, guys. All right, take a breath in and reach your right leg up and back behind you, keeping the hips square, so toes face down towards the ground. As you take your next breath out, hug the belly in and start to step that right foot forwards without lifting the hands off the mat. So try not to lift the hands or the knuckles. Just take whatever step you can forwards, really being mindful of how much space your hips have, okay? If you need to, then adjust your foot. Use your right hand on your leg to do so. All right, this time, I'd like us to lower our left knee down. We're all coming down into that low lunge. Coming to the fingertips, open the chest here, and just hinge the hips forward for a moment, just as far as feels comfortable. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, maybe you lift up, bringing palms overhead, opening through the chest, drawing the tailbone down, reaching the crown of the head away, shoulders sink into the muscles of the back. Strong and stable foundation. Check your breath in and out through the nose and into the belly of the body. Beautiful. If those arms are overhead, breathe out. When you're ready, start to bring the hands down. As we breathe in, let's all step our left foot forwards to our right. And then breathe out, just release in this forward fold here. Inhale when you're ready, roll up through the spine, soften the knees. Gently rising to stand. Roll the shoulders. Find your Tadasana. Either closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Hands coming to heart center when you're ready. Connecting here for a breath. Find your foundation. Ground down through the feet. Lengthen through the top of the head. And if possible, connect with your heart. Alright, when we're ready, let the eyes open if they're closed. Breathe in. On your next inhale, take the arms up. Exhaling, let's fold forwards. Flat back position. Bend the knees if you need to, but try to lengthen through the spine for as long as possible. Inhale, flat back position. As you breathe out, hands down, and this time slide that left leg back. Option to lower the knee or to keep it lifted, and this time we're twisting towards the right thigh. So take the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, maybe looking up at those fingertips if that feels okay for the neck, but hug the belly into the spine and twist from the lower spine. Good. Beautiful, guys. One more breath here. And then slowly unthread that right arm, coming all the way down. Coming into our plank. Remember, this can be high plank, or you might choose to be on the knees. Your choice. Wherever you are, hugging the abdominal muscles. And on your next breath out, we're lowering all the way down to the ground. So take your time, ideally chest and shin, okay, coming into Ashtanga Namaskar. Now from here, slide the legs back. Wait for your next inhale breath, and then just find your low cobra. As you breathe out, forehead down to ground or mat. 2 more times, breathe in, low cobra. Breathe out, fold forward. Inhaling, low cobra. Exhaling, release. Beautiful, tuck the toes. Engage your lower abdominal muscles, press down to the base knuckles of the hands, and without arching the lower back, hug in those core muscles. Press back up, all fours, and then finding your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Beautiful work, guys. We're getting ready to inhale our left leg up and back, hips are square. And then breathing out, step that foot forwards. Try not to lift the palms of the hands if possible. Once you get here, right knee drops down. Option 1, come to the fingertips, sink the hips forwards, open the chest. Option 2, take the arms overhead. And make sure you're not collapsing into that left hip joint, especially if you're quite flexible already. So even though we're sinking into the hips, be mindful of trying to pull that left knee and shin forwards and lift up through the spine. So there's a little bit of space in this joint. Okay, on our next breath out, if those arms are lifted, draw them down. On an inhale, everyone step the right foot forwards, meeting in an exhale breath into our forward fold. And then breathing in when you're ready, bend the knees, slowly begin uncurling, rolling up through the spine. There's no rush getting there. Take an extra breath if you need. As you come to stand, roll the shoulders, find your Tadasana. Either softening the gaze or closing the eyes. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center if you want to. Just connecting for a moment in stillness, just observing the breath, any sensations in the body, maybe what's happening in the mind. Beautiful. If the eyes are closed, gently let them open when you're ready. Well done, guys. Beautiful work. I really should have tied my hair up a little bit better today. Although those of you that have done classes with me in person know that this is a very good version of reality of what it's like to do yoga with me. Hair all over the place. Okay, let's bring our feet to about a hip width position. And we're going to slide our right leg back. We're coming into our warrior one pose. So if warrior one doesn't feel accessible because there is pinching anywhere in the right hip, knee, or ankle, then you're welcome to come to high lunge instead onto the ball of the foot, keeping the feet running parallel. If warrior one feels okay or you want to try it, then you can spin the right foot down onto the mat. So you can press all four corners into the ground evenly. And the foot is angled in no more than 45 degrees. When I teach warrior one, I often like to point out that that 45-degree angle is not going to work for everyone and everybody. So feel free to make the angle less than 45 degrees. As long as your hip, your knee, and your ankle is aligned and it's comfortable and you're still working hard, it is fine, okay? So make sure you can press both feet evenly into the ground. And we're trying to sink down through the tailbone. So imagine a weight tied to the base of your spine, drawing you down. That's what encourages that left knee to move forwards. Your left knee stays in line with your ankle and toes. Okay, and we're pressing the outside edge of our right foot into the mat, all four corners of our left foot into the mat. And then we're trying to bring our hips as square as we can to the front of the mat while lifting up through the spine and being heavy. There's quite a lot going on here. Okay, whenever you get to your version of warrior one, take the arms overhead, interlace the palms, stick the index fingers up towards the ceiling, and then see if you can start to find that dual motion. So pressing the feet into the ground, away from the ground, draw that left knee and shin forwards. Imagine you're trying to push something forwards that's really sturdy and won't move. And then with equal pressure, push the right side of the right foot, the outside edge of the right foot into the mat. So we're trying to find this dual motion, this equal balance, okay, between push and pull. And then check you can also breathe. Find your focus. If you want more of a challenge, close your eyes for your last couple of breaths here. Beautiful work, guys. Very slowly bring the hands back to heart center, and then just ground down to that left foot. See if you can glide your way forwards, coming back into that hip width position. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Beautiful. Slide that left leg back. Other side. You may need to wiggle the foot a little bit. So adjust as you need to, but try to make sure that even getting in and out of the posture, there's a sense of awareness with how we're moving. Okay, so let's make all these in-between movements on our mat part of our practice as well. Okay, so when you're ready, get heavy through the tailbone. Check to make sure that left leg doesn't have pain. Okay, if you want to make that angle less than 45 degrees, if you need to come to high lunge, that's fine. So modify as you need to. Remember, your practice, your experience. Saying that, yoga is about finding balance. So it's making sure that we ease off when we need to. We respect our bodies and our minds and our capabilities in any one moment of what we can do and what's too overwhelming and what's too much. But we always make sure that we're doing our best too. So we don't let that turn into laziness. And we continue to push our edge, we continue to push our boundaries while having respect for ourselves. Okay? It's a fine line, it's a balance, it's a constant practice. It's something we're going to have to work at every day for the rest of our lives. Okay, so breathing in, hugging the lower abdominal muscles, lengthening tall, tailbone heavy, draw that right knee and shin forwards, all four corners of the right foot grounded, press the outside edge of the left foot into that mat. Equal pressure, find that dual motion, find that push and pull. And when you find that equal push and pull, that's when you'll find your stability. Good, beautiful work, guys. Last breath or so here, maybe close those eyes once again if you want a little bit more of a challenge. And then we're very slowly bringing the hands down. Again, ground down through that right foot, look forwards and see how you go, gliding forwards back into that hip width position. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Beautiful work. Okay, just staying where you are on your mat, feet can be hip width. Reach the arms up overhead when you're ready. Interlace the fingers. Doesn't matter which way around you do it, we'll do both sides. Pull up through the wrists, hug in the core muscles. Just take a little side stretch. Let's go over to the left. Lengthening through both sides of the body, even though we're stretching more through that right side, still try to lengthen through the left. Good, come up through center. And then over to the right. Pulling up through the wrists. Press down through all four corners of the feet, roll the chest open, hug in the lower abdominal muscles. Beautiful, come up through center. Release the arms, take the arms forwards and down. Give the shoulders a roll. Breathe in. And one breath out through the mouth. Let it go. Hands to heart center, bend the knees, just coming into a high chair pose. Doesn't need to be a deep movement. Make sure your knees track over your toes. Press down evenly through all four corners of the feet. If you want more of a challenge, biceps in line with ears. Stretch through the fingertips. Chest is open, lower abdominal muscles hug in. So we're not arching through the lower back. Maybe go a little bit lower for these last few breaths if the space is there. Again, if you're quite flexible in the hips, keep space in the hip joints. Make sure you don't collapse into the hips. And then gently folding forwards, releasing. Give the head a shake if it needs it. Take a couple of breaths here. Any forward fold. Knees can be bent or straight. Allow the crown of the head to be heavy. Beautiful work, guys. Very, very slowly release the hands. Gently bend the knees. Rolling down. And let's come into a sitting position. Legs out in front. If you want to sit up on your cushion, if you have one, or your block, what's out, something to elevate the hips, and please feel free. We're coming into Dandasana. So sitting tall, all four corners of the feet pressing forwards, lengthening through the crown of the head, shoulders, hips all in line, hugging your core muscles. Let's draw our right foot in, cross it over your left. Hug yourself in towards that thigh. Find as much length as you can. And let's gently twist, hugging ourselves in towards that right leg. So use your arms to help you, but make sure you twist from the bottom of your spine up to the top. Doesn't matter how far you go in this movement. If you want to bring that elbow over the thigh, you can. If you want to bind, you can. You just do you. Find your breath. Listen to your body. Continue finding length through the spine. Continue breathing. Beautiful. Unwinding. Very, very gently. Now, keeping the legs as they are, I want you to heel toe that right foot across. Might come off the mat. And what we're trying to do, just go as far as you can, is stack our knees on top of each other and squeeze our thighs together. Okay, our feet are still slightly flexed, especially this right foot. It'll help to keep our right knee steady. Sit up nice and tall, and you might be feeling quite an intense stretch through the outside of that right hip already, which is fine. So option one is just stay here if you feel enough. Option two, keep the length in your spine, hugging your core muscles, and take a very slight bend forwards. Now, when I say bend forwards, I'm not asking you to get your head down to your left shin. If it can get there, great, go for it. But what I want you to focus on here is lengthening through the spine. So think about your belly button wanting to lift up and over your right knee or right thigh. Okay. Pressing down equally through both sitting bones. Keeping that left foot and leg active if we can and engaged. Last couple of breaths here. Good, beautiful. Bring yourself back up. If you're forwards, carefully unravel that right leg. Give the legs a bit of a shake out if they need it. Come back into Dandasana. Find your stability, find your foundation, ground here. Check your alignment, check your center is strong. Okay, this is the base of your posture, so make sure that you're strong here. Okay, if our foundation isn't strong, then it doesn't matter what we build on top of it. Okay, we've always got to have a strong foundation. That's the most important thing. Okay, left knee bends in when you're ready. Cross it over the right. Hug yourself in. Find that length through the spine. Remember, as you find length and space, hug in those lower abdominal muscles. Match the length and space that you work towards with strength and stability. Okay, when you're ready, slowly twist. Use your arms, gently ease into it. Remember, think about your belly button hugging into your spine and your belly button initiating the twist. You take this as far as it feels good. If you don't want to bring the neck into the twist, just keep the chin over the sternum and try to keep all four corners of that right foot pressing forwards. One more breath here. Beautiful. Slowly untwist. Come back to center. And then this time, just heel toe very carefully that left foot across the mat. And it doesn't matter if the knees don't stack. Just take them as close as you comfortably can. We're working on squeezing the thighs together. Getting those knees maybe on top of each other, maybe just close to being on top of each other. You can flex that left foot slightly to help keep the knee stable. Right foot's active. Sit up tall. Use your center. Maybe just stay here if you feel enough. If you need a little bit more, come as far into a forward fold as you would like. And you can go much further than I'm going. I have very tight hamstrings at the moment. This is as much as I need. But saying, if your hamstrings are open, if you can go further, great. Make sure whatever you're doing with awareness. Make sure whatever you're doing in the best way that you can. So check in to make sure that you're doing things as correctly as possible. And we're working towards finding that balance of strength, stability, but also flexibility and length and space. Good, one more breath here. And slowly easing off. Take your time. Bring the legs out. Give them a bit of a shake out. And then scoot yourself forwards on your mat when you're ready to. So you can bring yourself down onto your back with control. So however you want to get there, you can roll down through the spine like me, just to engage those core muscles a little bit more, but you can get down in any other way that feels appropriate. Whenever you do get down, take the arms overhead for a moment and just lengthen the top half of the spine. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. Should feel quite nice. Bring the knees in towards the chest and just rock that lower back for a moment. Beautiful. And then widening the knees towards the armpits. You can either just stay here if this feels enough, or you can flex the feet up towards the ceiling, grabbing hold of the feet, the ankles, the shins, whatever is within reach for happy baby. So making sure in happy baby you keep your sacrum on the ground. So try not to roll up onto the spine, pin the sacrum down, and this helps keep the spine long and lengthened. Good, beautiful. Oh, that guys, happy baby, such a nice place to be. Okay, we're gonna take one more breath here. And then I'll invite you to slowly bring the feet and knees together. Okay, just take the feet back down onto the ground for a moment. We're going to do one of my favorite yoga postures, banana sun. So make sure you've got space to lengthen your legs. And we're just going to do about 30 seconds on each side. But I really do recommend that you do this in your own time. For 5 minutes or so, it can be a great place to stretch out. I want you to take your hips and shift them just off center to the right hand side of the mat, and then walk your left heel and your right heel towards the left hand corner. And if you want to, you can hook that right heel over the left foot to help it stay in place. And then keeping the back of your hips flat and the back of your shoulders flat, take your head and shoulders to the top left hand corner. You're literally making the shape of a banana or a crescent moon, or a smile, or a frown, depending on which way you look at it and what your perspective is. Which I also think is a great metaphor for life. In every situation or experience, it really is down to every individual's perspective as to what they see. So depending if something is facing up or down can determine a very different experience, like a smile and a frown. So whenever we are finding it difficult to understand someone else's experience, or our own experience perhaps, I think it's always worth remembering to be kind to ourselves and to especially be kind to others, because we have no idea what they're going through. We can assume things, we can try to tell them what's right and what's happening, but we can't ever actually know exactly what they're feeling, exactly what they're going through. So we should never judge people for that. And if we can start to adopt that in our day-to-day interactions with each other, I think the world will become a much more peaceful and loving place. Okay, good. Very, very gently begin to release the feet back to center. The arms and hands back to center. Realign the hips. Take a moment just to lie flat for a second. Everything in alignment. Notice if there's a difference between the right side of the body and the left. And then when you're ready, just pick the hips up, shift them over to the left side of the mat. Feet come into the right corner. Maybe you hook that left ankle over the right. Head and shoulders and arms over to the top right corner. Keep the back of your hips and the back of your shoulders flat. So if you've rolled up onto the side of the body, bring yourself back until you can be flat. Okay. And then breathing here, you can really let yourself relax here, so you don't need to hold tension in the body. Let yourself just relax. If you don't feel anything at all, maybe you ease into this a little bit deeper. If what you're feeling is overwhelming or becomes overwhelming, maybe you ease yourself out slightly. Okay? So you're not running away from the posture or the experience, but you're respecting your own boundaries. Beautiful, guys. Last few breaths here. Very slowly, when you're ready to start to bring the arms and head and upper body back. Release the feet, bring the feet back, bring the hips back. Take a moment just to lie flat again. Oh, everything aligned. Check in with the body. Check in with the mind. Beautiful. And then gently draw the knees in towards the chest. Give that lower back a bit of a gentle rock on the ground. If the spine feels as though it needs it, you might rock the knees all the way down to one side. Just taking a little bit of a twist here for a moment. And then maybe you rock them up through center and just drop them down to the other side for a breath, or a bit longer if that feels needed. So basically, just give yourself a little bit of freedom to see, is there anything else your body is calling for that it really needs and it feels as though it wants to do, so that you feel well-rounded as we come towards the end of our practice. Okay, and when you feel ready to, let's just allow those legs to lengthen towards the bottom corners of the mat. If we can, palms lying face upwards and arms out by the side of the body, a little bit away from the body if possible, so you have space to really let the shoulder joint relax completely. And ideally we close the eyes, or if that's not comfortable, just let the gaze soften. Let the physical body relax. Let the breath return to its natural state, whatever that is in this moment, without judgment, without expectation. And I want to invite you to see if you can be in your experience right now with total acceptance. So just let yourself be, whatever it is you're feeling. Whatever it is the breath is doing, whatever it is that the mind is saying, just accept that. It doesn't need to be pleasant. It doesn't need to be calm and peaceful. If it is those things, great. Enjoy it. If it's not, okay. That's your experience right now in this moment. Rather than fighting it and trying to reject it, can we just accept it? Letting ourselves be in the present moment. And just observing the breath as it comes in and out of the body without wanting it to be anything other than it is. Just observing the inhale and the exhale. If you have the time in your day right now to stay here, Shavasana, for a little bit longer, then by all means, please feel free to stay exactly as you are for as long as you need or can. And if you're ready to close your practice, then I'll invite you to just stretch the toes and fingers for a breath or two. Take any gentle movements that The body requires. Let the knees come in towards the chest so you can gently roll onto one side. From your side, you can carefully press your way up into any sitting position on your mat. And you can have the eyes closed or you can simply have a soft gaze. And as you come to sit, the hands can rest anywhere at all that's comfortable. If you'd like to, you're welcome to bring the palms together at the heart center into Anjali Mudra one last time. And just taking a moment to be present. To check in with the sensations in the body, what's happening in the mind, the natural breath. Just observing yourself here, if possible, without judgment, without expectation. Maybe reminding ourselves that finding stillness and silence helps us work towards peace. Sometimes when we look externally for all the answers, that's when life becomes more overwhelming and more stressful. Sometimes we need to look inwards for the answers. So when you're ready to, we'll finish our practice by taking one last breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And if the eyes are closed, you can let them open in your own time whenever you are ready. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day.